Hi everyone, I'm Achilles Hero and welcome to another video. This video will be a bit different than some of my past videos. Normally I do performance videos on my performance in Sylph themed tourneys or ranked tourneys, whether it be in Go Stadium, Arena Australis or my local area. But in this video, it's just all about a fun tourney, which the Arena Australis Youngster 4 members made up, hosted by Arena Australis' own Fish on a Heater. And in this meta we made up, we decided to, how do we organise a PvP tournament where you can also play while you're drinking. So a bit of a drinking game during a PvP tournament. So we came up with the meta first, and then there was some drinking rules. I'll explain the meta first. It was an open Great League tournament, but instead of it being just a full-on meta team, we decided to spicy it up. So what we decided on was to pick a team from each of the 50 slots on the PvPoke's Great League rankings, Open Great League rankings. So your first Pokemon would have to be picked from the ranked 1st to 50th on the rankings. Okay, then your second Pokemon was the 51st to 100, and so on until you pick 6 Pokemon. So that way it got to a point where you started picking your 5th and 6th Pokemon, and you're starting to use Pokemon you have rarely used in PvP before. So it really gave the chance for those sort of Pokemon to have a go and have a bit of fun with it, because you generally don't see those Pokemon in PvP, and gave a bit of fun because people didn't know what moves those Pokemon had, or how well some of them actually performed in that meta that we had made. For the drinking rules, there was quite a few rules we made up. I'm just looking at the list here. If you lost a game, you have a drink. Okay, if you get a 3-0 sweep, so you just get swept 3-0 in your battles, have a drink. If you get beamed that goes through unshielded, everyone has to drink. Okay, and with this team building, okay, before we started, for this rule, whoever had the spiciest team, everybody else had to drink. And I'm proud to say that at this tournament, I was chosen as having the spiciest team, which, as the spicy capsicum kind of guy, as Dr. Trotter would describe me as, I was proud to have the title as the spiciest team for this tournament. Okay. There was no restrictions apart from being within the rules of those 50 slots. So you could bring an Azu, an Altaria, a Registeel, a Skarmory, a Deoxys Defense, Swampert, Flappy Fish. And if you did bring them, though, you immediately have to have 3 drinks. So I don't think anybody actually picked those Pokemon because they wanted to avoid those 3 drinks, and in the spirit of it supposed to be being a spicy meta, we didn't want to see those Pokemon. Okay. And then it started getting to a little bit of the jokey side of things. Anytime the new swear bot on an Arena Australis is referenced, take a drink. There was quite a few people that didn't really like the swear bot, but it is there for a reason. But they just like to make joke of it. Another one, the Valley Boys is represented as myself and 200% Gary. We go around saying this all the time, so one of us decided to chuck that in there just for the lulz. So every time one of the Valley Boys says, "How good is Shard?" everybody has to take a drink. And then you had this stuff about Shiny Flex. So every time someone says Shiny Flex in chat, everyone has to drink. And when someone says get beams or shows a picture of you getting beams, that's a drink for everyone. So there was quite a few rules. Some of these rules we forgot when we're doing these battles, just because we did have quite a few bit of rules on there for drinking. So that was our drinking game. It sounds like there's a lot going on, but not really. I mean, the major things was the get beamed, Shiny Flex, and if you lose a game or get swept. The other references in there is just there for jokes, and we probably mentioned about twice or three times throughout the whole tournament. So yeah. Okay, getting on to the battles. Okay, first round, we're up against Aaron Vibes. And I decide to lead Wailord here. As you can see on the sides of the screen, they're our teams for this tourney. I decided to just go for Surf here, try to burn shields pretty quickly in the match because I do have a squishy team. Wailord is my bulkiest Pokemon here. I decided to stay in against Togekiss and try to get that beam off, so I'm already going for that beamed rule early in the match, and he lets it through unshielded, and that Togekiss is out of there. And now I'm in a good spot because he's got Dugong and I know he's got Obstagoon in the back, so I'm just going to counter down. Don't go for close combat because that's just going to debuff me, so I decided to go Night Slash, try to boost that counter damage because that's what's going to win me this match. Decide to shield, keep this Primeape alive because I know that it's going to do well against both of his Pokemon left. I've got shields, use them, bank up a whole lot of energy. Decide to shield this and counter down the Dugong, although he is going to switch out into that Obstagoon, but I've already got a close combat there, so it's just going to wipe out that Obstagoon, and then the Dugong's going to come back in, and I'm just going to counter it down. So what turned that matchup around is me definitely getting that Hyper Beam off, which was one of the rules, so everybody else had to drink. How we managed that was there was half of us that were in voice chat, so while we were battling we'd mention it while we're doing a battle, because you always get highs when you actually land a beam, and then anyone that wasn't in voice chat, that would be in a text chat, texting and screenshotting to say that they had beams or whatnot. Decided to go Wailord again. I loved Wailord against his team, thought it was really good. I wanted to go, just get the surfs off early. This time I'm not going to be able to reach a Hyper Beam. I decided to shield and go for another surf because I should have been able to take out the Togekiss at this range or get a shield. And I get the second shield. So now I'm happy, the Wailord's done its job, Togekiss is at very low health and he's got no shields left. Bring in Charmeleon to just Fire Fang that Togekiss down. Dusclops comes out. So now I was glad that I didn't bring in Primeape to farm down that Togekiss. I'm going to shield the Shadow Punch to keep the Charmeleon alive. I thought that was the right option. I mean, it was a bit hard when I have Primeape in the back, but I go for the Fire Punch. Now it's at low enough health that I'm happy to bring the Primeape in. It's not going to KO, and it's going to at least reach a Night Slash, but he switches out into Obstagoon. I'm happy with that. I'm going to get a close combat off, shields down. It's going to take out that Obstagoon. But now I'm left with a low health Primeape against the Dusclops, he's just able to hex me down before I can get that Night Slash off. If I was able to land that, that would have been GG's. The Shadow Punch doesn't do that much damage against Charmeleon, and I'm able to Fire Fang that Dusclops down. Pretty happy about my team so far. It was, considering it was a spicy team, I thought I might struggle against some teams here, but I've done pretty well. And we lose the lead here. Bayleaf against that Togekiss. Togekiss is going to win this match. The Razor Leaf damage is adding up though. Gonna be able to get an Ancient Power off. I can't remember if he shields this. He does shield, so he remembers that Bayleaf does have Ancient Power, and he's happy just to charm down my Bayleaf. At this point, I decided to bring in Wailord. I wanted to protect that Raichu. Able to tank the Ancient Power, so I try to use his energy and just Water Gun down the Togekiss. And he brings in Wormadam. Now I decide to build up pretty much to a Hyper Beam and then go for a Surf. It doesn't shield. Now I decided, should I switch into Raichu? No, actually I'll go for another Surf. So that was a bit of a decision to go with, and I get the second shield. Now I decide to go with Raichu. I've still got 2 shields left, so I'm happy to shield me Raichu, and the Volt Switch damage is going to add up on against that Wormadam. So I decide to farm down a bit, shield again. So I was happy to burn both shields to get a whole heap of energy on this Raichu. And shields down, this wild charge damage is going to do quite a bit of damage to Blaziken. And as you can see, one shots Blaziken, and he has Wormadam in the back. Raichu, with all that energy built up, able just to Thunder Punch the Wormadam down, and we sweep that match. On to our second round match. We're up against Beardedpopguy, who also has a YouTube channel. I'll leave the link down in the description below. And we managed to land the Bayleaf Swampert lead, and that Swampert has to get out of there. Switches into the hard counter with a lower Marowak, but I'm able to have the hard counter with Wailord. So I'm happy to take anything that's thrown here. I was hoping it was just a shield bait, but it is a Shadow Ball, but I'm able to take that Shadow Ball. So I'm still, even though that Shadow Ball lands, I'm still going to win this matchup. Yep, he lets it through. Interestingly, he went with Overcast Cherrim instead of a Sunshine Cherrim. So he's going to win this matchup. I just want to go for Surf damage. Not going to be able to reach a Hyper Beam. Decides to throw the charge move. And I learned that it's Dazzling Gleam. He didn't need to do that. So he just wasted a lot of energy throwing that charge move. And now he's gone up against my Charmeleon, and he's unable to throw anything at that Charmeleon. So that was the wrong play. All he needed to do was farm down my Wailord, and then he would have had something to at least take out that Charmeleon. He's able to bring back in Swampert, but I know I've got Bayleaf in the back. That Swampert's just going to go straight down with that Razor Leaf damage. Decide to shield. Didn't need to do that. All I needed to do there was I could have done a full Ramberto and just not shielded, but guarantee the win by shielding. Nothing he can do. So on to our second battle. I decide to lead with Wailord. I loved Wailord in this meta, and for my team, it was a great lead. I just didn't want to get it stuck against a grass type or an electric type. But otherwise, the bulkiness of it was actually pretty good, and the threat of a beam as well. I decided to shield here. Wasn't really good with my energy management here because I wasn't sure if he actually reached a Hurricane yet or not. Decided to go Surf. The Hyper Beam would have done a fair bit of damage, but I thought that just straight Surfs was probably the way to go here. And yeah, put that shield pressure on. He's able to shield, so we both double shield here. Both wanting to win the lead. I decided to give up switch advantage first. I wanted to try to volt switch down that Pidgeot, but I'm unable to do so. Being an electric type though, I was able to tank that aerial ace. And then Cherrim comes out. Being an electric type, it's not a good situation for me, but I've got that wild charge. The wild charge is still going to do quite a bit of damage, even as an electric move. Going to try to go for... I don't know why I went for the Thunder Punch here. I should have gone for another wild charge. But I'm just unable to KO that Cherrim, and he gets the Hyper Beam off. I just got beamed by an Overcast Cherrim. Something you'd hardly ever see in a PvP battle. But I do have Charmeleon, so I was lucky that he had Steelix in the back, so Charmeleon is going to do some work against this Steelix unless he gets an Earthquake off. But I just switch into Wailord, take anything the Steelix throws, which is a Crunch, and I'm able to get the Surf off before I go down. So Wailord doing its job and taking out the second battle. And so far we've done very well in this tourney because we have won every single battle. So we've swept all 5 of our battles so far. On to our third battle. Very good Shiny Flex. I love that. See, I screenshotted that for Shiny Flex to chuck in chat there. That's Shiny Ursaring. At that point, I didn't think, being a casual, I didn't actually know that Teddy Ursa could actually be shiny at this point. So seeing a Shiny Ursaring was also a shock to me. Go for the Wild Charge and that Ursaring is gone. So that Wild Charge is very threatening. Raichu being squishy, it can still do a fair bit of damage. Decided just to try to go for that second Wild Charge. I decided to shield to put pressure on, so I have double shielded, but I decided to Wild Charge this. If I was him, I would shield. Yep, he gets the shield. And Raichu is out of there. Now I do have Wailord, so I bring in Wailord. It's going to counter that Alolan Marowak. But he is going to get a Shadow Ball off. It's going to do quite a bit of damage, as you've seen in the, I think it was the first battle. I'm able to get another Surf off. Putting pressure on to take out those shields. Able to get another shield. And then I switch out into Charmeleon because I wasn't sure at this point what he had in the back. And I should have done this. I should have stayed in with Wailord because now he's just going to keep Bone Clubbing my Charmeleon. And it's going to take it down to very low health. So I should have just stayed in with Wailord and just Water Gun chipped it down. In a bad spot anyway though, as you can see, because he had Swampert in the back. So it was always going to be a tough battle with me having Charmeleon in the back and him having Swampert. But this Wailord isn't going to be able to take many Hydro Cannons. And there you have it, and I lose my first match in the tourney. Okay, on to the final round of the tournament. We have made it to the final, and we're up against an elite trainer in Jonah. We both decided to open with Razor Leafers, which I thought was pretty cool. We both was running with Razor Leafers as a lead. He decided to switch out into Sunny Castform, and I switch into Wailord. So I felt like I was in a good spot here, but I do have to look out with my shield play. Because if he lands that Solar Beam, he's still going to win this matchup. And I knew that he would have had Solar Beam purely because this tournament we were really encouraged to bring beamers. So I do shield one of the weather balls, thinking that it could have been a solar beam, and now it got to this point where I didn't shield anything at this point. No, it's just going to be weather ball spam, and I'm trying to build up energy to a hyper beam to throw at the expected Vileplume. And I'm unable to land that hyper beam because that Razor Leaf damage was just too much for Wailord to overcome. Still felt like it was in a good spot. Had Charmeleon to counter that Vileplume, and then he brings in Golduck, so I have Bayleaf to counter that Golduck. I do decide to shield though, and I shield a Bubble Beam. I expected there to be an Ice Beam. I knew that Golduck had Ice Beam in its move pool, not necessarily his Golduck, but I knew it had it in its move pool as a Pokemon. So I'm not in a great spot here. I have to get to a charge move against this Vileplume, and I'm making the mistake here of tapping on Grass Knot. I needed to be tapping on Ancient Power, because as you can see, I had an Ancient Power ready when I went down. And because of that, he's able to build up to a Sludge Bomb and take out my Charmeleon. So that just shows what an elite trainer can do. He was in a bad spot, but he was able to get the Bubble Beam bait, and then he was able to farm down my Bayleaf with Razor Leafs to build up enough to get to a Sludge Bomb to take out that Charmeleon in the back. And going on to the second battle, I did win the lead. He decides to switch out. I decide to counter his switch with Raichu with that Wild Charge threat, but I'm unable to get this bait. I expected a bait, which is why I went for Thunder Punch, and because I didn't get that bait, I'm not in a good spot. And then I made the mistake of double shielding. Not the right call, because now I'm 2 shields down, and he's still got 2 shields. And now he's safe to shield here, because I'm not going to be able to get to another Thunder Punch in time, and he had built up enough energy to get to a Weather Ball to protect his switch advantage. So now he's got still got a shield, and he's got switch advantage here. So he was happy to take that shield. And he's got Golduck to counter my Charmeleon, and Vileplume comes back out to counter my Bayleaf. As you can see, I did have the counters for his Pokemon, but they're in the wrong positions. If they're in the right positions, it could have been a different matchup. But because of my play with Raichu, it really turned the matchup around to a disadvantage on my behalf. And Vileplume's going to Sludge Bomb the Bayleaf. Charmeleon's going to take out the Vileplume, but there's nothing it can really do against Golduck. As you can see, I didn't even throw the 5 punch. All I was hoping for here was that he didn't throw his move, and I got to return and he didn't shield. That was the only way I was going to win that matchup from there. So Jonah's won the tournament. He's swept both battles, so he's won the best out of 3. I decided to lead with Aggron here, purely just because I hadn't used it yet in the tournament. I did bring it in my first battle in my team, but I didn't actually use it. And the third battle isn't already going well. That Vileplume was disgusting, doing disgusting amount of damage with that Razor Leaf. His Primate was not handling it well at all, and he goes for the big hitting moves. Jonah was definitely having fun here, going for the big hitting moves, throwing a Moonblast on that Primate, not even saving any energy at all. And yeah, he knew that Golduck was just going to be able to farm down the Primate. He knows I've got Aggron in, so he's happy to bring that in as a safe. And I have to shield. I can't have Charmeleon in against that Golduck. I have to shield to try to throw something at Golduck with Aggron. and I thought he'd shield out, try to get a few smackdowns off before switching out. Nothing I can really do here, it's in a bad spot. Aggron did have smackdown, so I was going to do super effective damage, but that super effective fast smooth fire damage on Aggron was not going to go well. And he solar beams me Charmeleon. Oh, I forgot about that. And at this point I decided to just return. Just go for a turn. He's already solar beamed me. I'm just going to go for the big move and return hand. And Golduck has cemented the win. And Jonah has won the tournament. Swept me. I'd done very well through this tourney, but when I got to Jonah, I just got swept. Apart from that last battle he won pretty easily. But those other two battles were very close. Only little things that could have changed the matchups around. As you can see, these are the final standings. Jonah win. I did come second. I did pretty well. It was only this last round that I didn't go well on my behalf. But other than that, I felt like I had a very fun tournament, and my spicy team actually worked. Apart from Jonah's team, I felt like he had probably one of the sort of meta teams out of everybody else. As you can see, in these teams, this is what people picked. Some interesting choices here. Really like the pick of 200% Gary, going with a Pokemon that he'd never even used before. That was literally his Dex entry that day in Swanna. So that was interesting. Didn't do too well with it, but it was fun to hear that he'd only just caught it, had it as a Dex entry, and then used it in battles. And that's what Pogo's all about, having fun with PvP. Yeah, and that was a very fun tournament. I loved it. Had a few drinks. It went pretty quickly. We ended up doing some auto-rect tourneys, which, if you don't know, auto-rect is pretty much just going in RNG, so just going straight into battle and just going with what the game recommends. So we just did a few of those and then called it a night. But it was real fun tournament. And that comes to an end of my video. Thank you for watching.